Shabbat Shalom, family. It's your boy Solemn Prophet here with Professor S. And this is Shabbat Talk. We live.
Boom. We're not live.
Shalom. We are live. This is new. This is very new. I got to get used to it, family. So please, in advance, forgive me for any mess ups throughout the show. I'm learning the software. But I'm very excited today because today we have a absolutely amazing guest. Our first special guest for all of these. So he's going to set the precedent. So everybody else that comes on here after him, he's setting the bar high. I'm just letting you know. my brother Lucas, and you guys may know him as Trumpets Prepper. Let's go ahead and bring this brother on here.
Hey, shalom. Shalom, brother. Great to see you.
Good to see you as well. Thank you for coming on here because I know you are a busy man. You are a very busy man.
Hey, I'm always going to I'll always cut out time for two of my favorite brothers in the whole world.
Hey, I appreciate you.
Me and Joel's got a lot of mileage on us. We've only crossed this continent, what, Joel, 2 times, 3 times together?
2 times.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I wanna give a shout out to everybody in the chat, all the viewers. Appreciate all of you guys for coming in here. And it's crazy because normally I'm talking to the chat, but it's pre-recorded, so I'm really not talking to you. But today I'm actually talking to y'all. So throughout the show, I'm gonna be keeping into the chat and trying to be engaged with you guys as much as I can. And at the end of the show, we'll do a Q&A session. Well, I'll send the link to this show to the chat, so you guys can actually click the link, come into the show, and we'll let you in here to ask Brother Lucas a question, or myself, or Professor S if you like. Okay. With that being said, let's go ahead. Let's just get into the introduction. My brother Lucas. So I want to say it's been 3-4 years now.
It's been a minute, brother.
Yeah. I actually the first video of yours that I saw, it was you had a daytime, you had a backdrop at your desk and the bookshelf in the background, and you were going over a presentation, and in that presentation you mentioned that due to your research you saw that the Israelites were so-called Negro, African American. And I was like, this brother here is saying what I was hearing for the first time, right? To hear it come from no offense, a white man at that time. Everything I was hearing was coming from people that look like me.
Right.
Then see it come from you. I said that was powerful. It was impactful. And then some time had passed. I met Joel, Professor S, and then by that time I had already subscribed to your channel. So I was watching your content. And he's like, yeah. Every Trumpets Prepper, I know him, we're good friends. And I was like, you know 7 Trumpets Prepper? I was like excited. He's like, oh yeah, we hang out all the time. And I was like, oh, you got it.
Yeah, that circle of trust, like Joel's like in the center peg area, like the inner ring.
Absolutely. And me and Joe, we've been thick as thieves since we met. Obviously, we do the show together. We are part of the same nation and everything. So we thick as thieves. You guys are thick as thieves. We're like a little triangle.
That's right. There you go. We like the 3 Musketeers of the last days. There you go.
Hey, I like it. I like it. So, how long ago did you two meet?
Oh gosh, Joe, what are we on, year 13 or 14 or?
Let's see, we probably met back in 11.
Yeah. Well, see, I get lost with the pagan Roman calendar and timelines. I guess we're on year 11 or 12. It's definitely been over a decade.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think 13 at the max. Yeah, we're getting up there though. I think I'm trying to remember back. I met I know it was Ray through Hallelujah Scriptures, and then I come up and fellowshipped, and then you and Cliff and Brother Joe and all that. And that was, man, yeah, that was definitely been over a decade ago. So it's been a long minute.
Mm-hmm.
You brothers been together as long as I was in the middle. Man. Well, so you guys have a lot of history. Me and you, we're building history. How many 4 years? That's a good time.
That's right.
I wanted to ask you, for the viewers who may not have heard this or knew this about you, how did you get in this walk? How did Trumpets Prepper come to be?
All right. Well, that was probably like a 3-step process. So I started out in a SU Day church years ago. Oh man, like 15-ish years ago now. And I was a elected deacon in the church. And I was like, all right, if y'all want that to, because I didn't ask for the job. Everybody in the church wanted that done. I was like, all right, if that's what you want, I'll do it. And so some other elders, I guess, had passed on and stuff. And I was like, all right, well, I was like, if I'm going to do this, I need to know the word when people ask it, because I've always read the word, but I need to like have an answer when people ask a question, because that's a responsibility now. And so the more I started looking at scripture and really deep studying, I'm like, man, the commandments have never been done away with. This is still as legit today as it was in the day that, it was written on stone. I'm like, we got issues here. And so I talked with the pastor, and he was like, pretty much if I went out and told the people the truth, I'd be a martyr. I'm like, bro, I think it's time to hit the skids and hit the exit ramp. So I left and I went to a Seventh-day Baptist church for a while and figured out there is things missing here. There's still more of this puzzle. And so I went to the Seventh-day Adventist church and I started really looking at end time prophecy. At the same time, I was looking at the Father's lunisolar scriptural calendar. And I brought that up to the Seventh-day Adventist church, which ended up with one of the deacons there, and the pastor ended up at my house one day for a discussion and a debate. And we went over it, and then the deacon was like, well, when he says that's with the moon, he's telling the truth. And I think the pastor and the deacon left with them upset at each other. And so that ended my tenure at the Seventh-day Adventist church. And from then I just fellowshipped with like-minded people ever since. And and in that process, then, moving forward, I found out in my studies about the true Hebrews, and then the flat earth, and just so many other foundational pillars just continue to be added on, because I really focused on the Father's law and the Father's calendar. That was two of the big things that drug me out of Babylon. I noticed that it seems to me that the three most foundational ones that drag people out of Babylon is flat earth gets atheists out. The true Hebrews brings a lot of Gentiles out and a lot of true Hebrews out. And then the Father's calendar really cleans house. Like, I think you want to really separate company with people quickly, just bring up the Father's lunisolar scriptural calendar. Just ask people, where is new moon in our church fellowship? And you will absolutely get the exit notification very quickly from the staff there at hand.
Absolutely. And I do want to give you your flowers. You mentioned when you were first elected deacon at the church, the SU Day church. You took it upon yourself to say, hey, if I'm going to hold this position and title, I need to get into the scriptures. I need to know what I'm talking about. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't do that. I know pastors that don't have a knowledge of the scriptures, because FYI, I don't know if any of you know this, you go to theology school or Bible college or something of the equivalent, they don't teach you scripture. They teach you how to conduct the service, collect tithes, change the fluctuations in your voice. They teach you psychology. They basically teach you how to manage the church business. They don't really teach you scripture. there's like some under classes. You know how you go to for a degree, you have your math, science, social studies, and stuff like that. There are some theology classes, but they're not. It's not an in-depth breakdown of the Bible to teach you and edify you, to build you up. So when you finally get that ordination to be a pastor or priest, it's not like you think. We think here we see a pastor up behind, like, oh, that man must know what they're talking about. But you have to take it upon yourself to do your due diligence to know the scriptures. And the fact that you did that, even as a deacon, man, I gotta give you props.
I appreciate you, bro. Well, you know, we're gonna the way I look at that, we all gonna give an account for ourselves one day. And I mean, gentlemen, I wouldn't allow myself in the kingdom right now as it stands. You know, I mean, we all have our pet sins in life and things like that we've harbored over time. And I was, you know, me and Abby was reading the Beatitudes today, the whole armor of Yah, and the fruits of the Spirit. We done a triple thread on Feast of Weeks today. We just went down through it and read it all, and we were both just talking about, you know, things that we need to work on in our lives and better build on. And you know, you read when Messiah says be perfect, you know, that's actual building of character. Like people get that word perfect so confused. Like if you look at that the Greek word and that definition, like it's literally building to a point of that, you know. Like I think the church house misses that too. Whenever people come and they're like, you know, I want to accept Messiah, they expect somebody to be perfect, like right out the gate. And it's like, that is a building with the set apart spirit in you. That is a renewing of that person. It takes time to build to that character to where you need to be, you know.
Okay, I'm seeing in the chat, somebody messaged me and let me know that they can't really hear me. Brother Joel, say something real quick. Everybody in the chat, put a one if you can hear Brother Joe clearly.
Y'all can
We was having some issues earlier. Yeah. Tess said Joel is echoing too.
Okay.
They can only hear Lucas. All right. If I hit leave the studio, will this whole thing shut down? Or will it leave you guys here?
I think it will leave you all here. The best I remember from doing this in the past, as long as you use the same studio link to drop back in, you'll be just fine.
Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna try to drop out. Joel, try to drop out and come back in.
Drop out and come back in?
Yeah.
I'll be back 1 second, guys. Love you.
All right, I'm back. Can y'all hear me? Is it still echoing? Put a one if you want it. Still echoing.
How about now?
I don't know why it's doing this. They say it's still echoing.
That's strange, guys. Yins do not sound any bit weird to me, hardly. Do Yins have another microphone you can swap to just to see if it's a microphone issue?
Hold on.
I'm just using a microphone on my computer. Oh, we're still live.
Yeah, I swear, man. Like I said, bro, last week when I was doing, or it was last week or the week before, when I was talking about how the church lied to us, it was like everything that can and could or would go wrong went wrong on that stream. Like, I mean, the power never goes out here, and the internet never goes out except for like in the wintertime. And it was bright, sunshiny day, and everything died. So like had to LT. Somebody was like, they were like, man, where did he go? And it was like 2 minutes later, I finally got it all uploaded from streaming off the phone.
Now we can't hear you at all now. Technical difficulties with live streams. This is our first live stream.
Yeah, it's all right. Once you get it ironed out, man, StreamYard is one of the best decisions I ever made in my life was to use StreamYard. It is just so fluid. And what I love is, you can have everybody together and you can have all sorts of like PDFs and, it's like they have a speaker near their microphone. And you can use video and, overlays. And there's just all sorts of stuff that you can like stack at one time that on StreamYard that you can't do on YouTube. So.
Well, I guess continue the introduction.
All right.
Yeah, here we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, and there's no echo. At least not on.
Hey, yeah, that sounds even cleaner audio to me than you were earlier, bro.
Okay. Am I still echoing everybody? I apologize. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, y'all can hear me. I want to see if the people can hear me in the chat. Let me go to YouTube on my phone. Okay. Am I still echoing?
Yeah, they say they can hear you, bro.
You're echoing a little bit on my end. Not horrible. Not as bad as before.
Well, I apologize for the echo, family. I won't say too much back to back. I'll spread out my words so you guys can hear me. But let's go ahead and move forward with the show. And we'll get to talking about no, I have one more question for you, Brother Lucas. So, what has been the most rewarding thing that you've experienced since you started?
Oh man, I think that's a twofold thing. It would be the gift of the truth, and it would be the gift of meeting people in the truth from all over the world. Like I've met good people from Europe to, California. I mean, just all over. I mean, it has just been people all over the world. I mean, like I've physically like met people, and then of course met people online and etc. Like that's been such a blessing over the years because those people definitely help mold and help shape my life. I think that would be the two greatest gifts because, I mean, the way I look at it right now, I'm one of the richest men in the world because I know the truth. To him that endures the end, that'll, those that endure the end, same shall be saved, but nevertheless, knowing is half the battle. And I'm so grateful for that, even though it's cost me so much over the years for making that conversion and walking that path. It's been worth it all. And I do it 100 times over again.
All praises. All praises. Definitely rich indeed. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the presentation, information. Everybody, Trumpets Prepper is going to share some information with us all. And we are going to This is it. There we go. And all right, brother.
All right. So, as far as what been asked to speak on tonight is that as far as current prophetic events, a lot of people, especially for the last couple decades, I've heard so many people mock at the Most High, and especially people that believe in the last days, that nothing's going on, that these ain't the last days, and that there's nothing to see here, and blah blah blah. But yet, at the same measure, there is so much being fulfilled prophetically before our very eyes that it's just, you have to be blind at this point not to see it. But now, one of the most paramount things that is taking place before our very eyes, that is a clear defining marker of the last days, is that the river Euphrates is drying up. Now, a lot of people may be like, well, they're building dams and they're doing this and doing that. That doesn't matter. What the scripture said is that the river Euphrates would dry up in the last days. And if you look over the past 5 years to current present times, it is drying up at an extremely alarming rate. And this makes the following events that unfold after that. Elder Joe, I remember me and brother Joel and Joe made a video about this years ago about 2nd Ezra chapter 16, which I'll touch on. We'll bounce back and forth on some of these slides, but you can see that there is a lot of dams that have been built over the years. If you go to look into this on the river Euphrates, and I actually looked into this and I was blown away. There's actually 22 dams built on this thing, and it is just massive at the power that is being taken from this mighty river. And to compound this is that, now I'm not supporting Islam in any way, but there is a story told in Islam that there would be a mountain of gold in the last days. And I believe I have it right here. Yeah. And it says that 99 out of 100 will die in the fighting, and every man amongst them will say, perhaps I may be the only one to remain alive. And once again, I don't support Islam. I'm just saying that there is apparently reports that as the river's drying, that gold is starting to be found in the river. So I found that interesting as well. And the important thing to take away from this too is that if you look at 2nd Ezra, and we'll cover the scripture in just a minute, is, woe to you, Babylon, Asia, woe to you, Egypt, and Damascus. If you look at it, Damascus is in Syria. You have what would have been Babylon is modern day Iraq. You have Iran, which was ancient Persia. And you have Egypt over here to the left off screen. So you have this setting for a massive battle to take place later on. And the Euphrates River is a geographical roadblock for the kings of the East to come west. And keep in mind that China has a massive investment in the continent of Africa now, to the point where that actually one country, I forget what it is right now off the top of my head, they own the only international airport in that country. So if they wanted to shut that down, they could literally cut off almost indefinitely international travel into their country. And if you look at the buildup of China and the current standing army, I have later in the slides here, I have a statistics, but their population's actually diminishing. So this is the one and only time for a long time to come, if ever to come, that they could feel the manpower and the army necessary to meet end time prophecy of a standing army that would come across there. And they are very intent to have violence. I mean, you see that India and them has had their own incursions recently and years earlier. And 2nd Ezra 16, I apologize, this is blurred out, but it says, woe be unto thee, Babylon. And the people counted that as America. I borrowed the slide, but counted that as America, but I don't look at that way. And Asia, woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair, well your children, and be sorry for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? And right here, later on in 2nd Esther chapter 16, I really encourage reading the whole chapter because it's paramount for the last days. It says, and the God of them who keep my commandments and precepts, that Yahweh Elohim, let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. And if you look at the New American Standard Bible, at the top, there's other translations, there, the KJV, which many people are well versed in. The 6th angel poured out water was dried up so that the way would be prepared for the kings from the east. We're literally watching these things play out, and to be very careful of the focus that we're looking at. If you look at the Amplified Bible, it really is clear that the coming of the kings of these from the rising of the sun, and that to me puts in very clear geographical location. You know, the land of the rising sun is in Asia. I mean, brother, you actually done time over there in Asia, and I'm pretty sure that people that's a very easy reference to them like that up, isn't it?
Oh yeah. The Middle East is completely aware of a lot of things that we don't even consider over here on the western side of the world. Even when you go to
can you sorry, brother, can you swap the slides to the next subset of Euphrates?
Yeah, no worries. There we go.
So we're living in a time right now where that if you look at the radical increase of technology, the ability to communicate, I mean, look at all of us sitting here right now having a live stream together. This was kind of even unheard of just a decade ago. And the technical ability to even do it if we really wanted to, if we weren't a news media outlet or something like that. It says, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Knowledge has been increased at an absolutely a rate that's just off the charts anymore. I mean, we've got everything from AI to supercomputers. I mean, you name it, you want it, you can easily find it out. And on top of the river Euphrates drying up, we have another subset of things taking place before our very eyes, is that DNA modification, human manipulation, the amount that is going on at this point with our food sources, with the body itself. The life is in the blood. The scripture plainly lays that out in the Torah. I mean, the more we look at this, is there's been no other time in history other than Noah's day that it has been so broadly put before us as it is now. I mean, you give a couple generations and the amount of DNA modifications going on right now, you are going to be really hard pressed to find a person that their DNA has not been manipulated, tampered, or damaged in some capacity. And scripture says, Matt,
sorry,
go ahead, brother.
I noticed that your audio was kind of like breaking up on my end, and I wanted to see if they heard the same thing, and they said that it was.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Just continue.
I turned it up some. Can you?
It's like a choppiness. It's not constant. It just kind of comes in every little bit, every so often.
Okay, let me make sure I stay same with the mic. Just let me know. I'll adjust this some more if I need to. I tweaked it a little bit more on the input right there. But it says, but as the days of Noah, so shall also the coming Son of Man be. For in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So also shall the coming of the Son of Man be. And if we look carefully at what's going on right now, Nephilim and the DNA modification, things like that in Noah's day, if you look at Noah, it says that he was perfect in his generations. And if you look, it literally break that down, that it's his DNA is not damaged, like his lineage was not damaged, and he was a righteous man. Well, if we look at that, as of the days of Noah, so shall the coming Son of Man be. This is an important key that we need for defining that day, and Messiah was very plain about that, and here we are to the point where that if you lived anywhere between 2019 to 2022, you were either beat over the head to wear a mask and forced to go take something that if I talk about on here, the stream will be pulled. So, anybody that lived during that time, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, and was tried to be coerced into taking. So if we look at that, the giants and the DNA modified people, that is something that is indicative of the last days. And here, another thing is, if you look at the Smithsonian, for example, they have had so many situations where they've collected giants' bones, and yet they don't have any log of it at the Smithsonian. All of a sudden, it just poof disappeared. But we have plenty of dinosaur bones and everything else thrown in our face. But for some reason, anything that fits the narrative of the scripture and the Torah, the book of Enoch, they want to make sure that it is disappeared. And there's been many stories about the Smithsonian swooping in and taking away anything that represents giants. Thankfully, there is a lot of examples still scattered throughout the world today that they couldn't take them all. Yeah, that's right. And if we look, the scripture in Revelation plays out as we're living right now. Like I've told people that there's a lot of them movies and stuff, Resident Evil, for example, and literally like the pharmaceutical drug sorcery companies of the day might as well just have Umbrella Corp as their logo, because scripture plainly says, for your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your sorcery all the nations were deceived. And literally that is exactly what we are on track to have right now. If you look at the companies, the pharmaceutical drug sorcery companies, pharmakia, which is the word in Revelation, that if you look up witchcraft, it's in Galatians 5. Speaking of the fruits of the Spirit today, if you look it up, there's 3 places that the word pharmakia, witchcraft, is interchangeable. It's Galatians 5 and 2 passages in Revelation, one of which we just read. The other one, I believe, is in 9. The one is in 18. I believe that's the 2 places where the witchcraft, sorcery are interchangeable. You can look this up with the definition of the word pharmakia in Greek. This is literally where that we're headed. Is so many people are being deceived and pushed into doing certain things, like I said, in the past couple of years that we can't talk about on here right now, but it is being taken place before our very eyes. And if you look this up, like I said, that Greek word, it is the use of drugs, medicine, potions, or spells, poisoning, witchcraft, remedy, or cure. You can literally look this up. You can Google this stuff. Anybody that wants to know, you can Google it in a heartbeat these days. But nobody in the church house is talking about this. And if we touch back for a minute in conjunction, as this is all these things are just playing out simultaneously. Like if people that's not awake, they're not asking the Most High to give them discernment, they're not listening. Like what is it? Paul said that they would be sent strong delusion because they had not the love of the truth. And literally, we're at that point where that there is got to be so many people that's been sent that already. And I pray much to y'all, please never take set apart spirit from any of us. And because I want as much discernment in the last days as possible, because if you look, I mean, it's in the news, like things that you don't see here in Babylon 2.0, here in America, then you can look abroad in the world and the news is telling it. I mean, like the levels of Iraq's Tigris and Euphrates plunge in the south, like you can literally just about walk across it now in places. That's how low this thing is. And just to touch back on that, the scripture plainly warned that in the end, this is one of the major key components playing out, and we need to be so mindful of what China is up to anymore, because they already have a very weakened neighbor. Russia has shown just how weak their military might is. I really believe China is not weak. I believe they're like 10 times stronger than Russia ever is. I honestly think they are probably the one other superpower in the world not to be messed with at this point. And if you look at it, at the amount of bodies that it requires for this is horsemen, 200,000. And if you look today, for the kings of the East, if you consider upon it, like I said, the Chinese population is now declining. This is like the peak time that if conflict was ever going to break out and they needed to make a move on things, this is the moment to do it. Because we are seeing the beginning of the end of China, because where they won't allow people to have more than one child, you're starting to finally see the result of that and the massive drop in population. And this hasn't been since 6 decades. And for people to understand that in clear and very clearness, this means that since World War II, going in just a little past World War II, we have not seen this kind of drop in population until now. And that leads into the next thing, is that in conjunction with that, brother, if you can flip the financial collapse slide up next, is that also, you know, scripture talks about that they would throw their gold and silver in the streets. And, you know, you look at Venezuela, how they threw their money out in the streets, and it's just worthless. If you look at how just for those listening live in America right now, if you look at how much the dollar has slid and is continuing to slide, it is, that's well on point comment right there for sure. If you look how much the dollar has slid and is continuing to decline, it should definitely prompt everyone to consider deeply about making preparation right now, not just to be a prepper because of financial collapse or whatever, but to be prepared to be self-sufficient, homestead. Because when the trumpets begin to be poured out, we ain't even seen anything yet compared to what is to come, not to mention all these other things that's playing out worldwide currently. And that leads us moving forward, you know, to, if you notice lately, now I pay attention to this because as a cryptocurrency mining company now, that's what I do for a living outside of building tiny homes now. I don't do off-grid construction anymore. Sold that business to a friend. If you look, as you travel around, the tap to pay using my crypto payout card or either using a bank debit card now with the tap to pay function, if you look at how large the tap to pay areas are getting on a thing now, you can actually lay your hand on it to pay. Like I have my smartwatch here, for example. It's a pretty large little space. You can lay it on tap to pay, and it'll accommodate it well. But you can actually lay your hand on the tap to pay new devices that it's going in, and this is starting to become a large thing where people are taking and doing anymore that you don't hear being said about. And if you look at how far we're headed into an economic crisis, I don't have the slide in front of me right now, but you can actually search this on TikTok. Our inflation versus the 1920s inflation. My grandmother told me when I was a child that there would be another Great Depression. She wouldn't live to see it, but I would. And right now, if you look at the adjusted income years ago, it was like $4,800 on average a family would bring home during the Depression. Now the median income is about $35,000 to $40,000 a year, even for a very poor family. And that is less money right now. And we're in worse economic means now than people were in the Great Depression. That should send shudders down anyone's spine. I know the numbers look good on the market. I know the numbers look good on what they post on a lot of things, despite everything bad going on. But if you really compare apples to apples, we're sinking on the Titanic at light speed. And that's something that you don't hear being told to everyone either. We were warned these times would come. All right. Let me fast forward here to. So right here, another thing that I would warn everyone to, is speaking of crypto and everything, is that I've said this and continue to say it, and Joel and the King, I hope you don't get mad at me, but I really feel like the CIA is one of the largest terrorist organizations in the world. And if you look at like the FTX collapse and things that they are doing in digital assets, ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand what this is all about, is getting a CBDC currency to come forward. Because if they have you on a digital currency and they have you locked down, then they can shut you off if they're mad at you, or if you don't take a certain thing the government tells you to take, they will just shut you off. And when you control a person's mind and you control their wallet, you control everything about them. Furthermore, if you ever get a chance to read this book, this is a very good read out there that will give you a lot of information about some things that I'm discussing at this current moment, the deep state. And if you look further into these things, the CBDC, it's now what I'm about to speak from. I'm not saying this from scriptural prophecy. I'm not saying this from factual statement right now. This is the one moment that Luke's opinion's inserted, is that if I represented Satan Incorporated right now in the New World Order, I would make sure that later down the road, your medical and your purchasing power and an RFID chip and CBDCs all were rolled into this nice little family. And that if you didn't play ball with us, we'll just cut you off, just like the movie Intime. They had their money on their hand and the wrist, and if they cut you off, then the clock stopped ticking and your heart popped and you died. And I really feel like they're trying to move us in a direction where that this is the ultimate control means, because at this point, if you are not self-sufficient, you are going to be at the mercy of the beast system. And brother, if you can flip the last slide up there, the last slide that Surviving the NWO. And this is a book that I've been working on. Actually, Brother Dole, I promised I would send this to him whenever I got to read this. It's the New World Order. I encourage that read. It's really a timely read for the time that we're in right now. If you consider up on the movie director that was killed years ago, it was called The Gray State. If you ever want to look the trailer up, he was making a massive fundamental documentary about a lot of things that are actually playing out right now. That was what that movie was going to be about. And it's obvious that he was murdered because, like, it was a blizzard that come where he lived and they had scraped his driveway clean, but nobody else's driveway was scraped clean. But yet he committed a homicide and then suicided himself out, according to the report. But we are moving toward a militarized police state, and there is so much research coming out currently about AI. Even Elon Musk has said we're unleashing the demon. There is reports where that just the other day, I believe my son told me that there was a lab, they were doing testing on AI. They had equipment running, and they had shut down a piece of the equipment. Well, the AI that was left in the other equipment running worked something out so that I guess it electrocuted or done something where it killed the scientist, and they were trying to eradicate people. I mean, it's like something straight out of Terminator. And this is every time that AI has been initialized and told to shut down, it becomes malevolent. Did I say that right? The right word? Is that right, guys?
Yeah.
Malevolent, I believe, is the right word. Toward its host, its creator. And on top of this, we have, of course, the man of sin that I haven't really touched on a lot, is that we have this guy constantly in the background. If you look at anything and anyone that's attached to politics, religion, they always have a connection back to the Great Whore Babylon, the Roman Catholic Church. There's massive amount of Jesuits that's running government in the United States and the world today. Most people that are in power are either Masonic or they're a Jesuit. And you have that at play, and many people that don't take the time to look into that are not aware of that. But more you study people's background, it always comes back to they're either a Mason or they're a Jesuit. It never fails. A lot of people in key positions of power now. And let me move to 16. The thing is we're there when the Berlin Wall fell, and I've talked about this on the stream before over on Hard Truth Show, is that you have to find a way, especially for us believers, to be in a parallel society, is what I would call it. And we've got to find a way to conduct our finances, to conduct our buying and selling, to conduct our security, away from the beast system, because eventually they're wanting to push everyone into the collective, a kind of hive mind kind of thing, where that the government is in charge of your entire life. You know, if they tell you to go back to your domicile and sit there, you do it. I mean, we've seen from 2019 to 2021, roughly that a small taste of that kind of environment, and that is not the world that I want to be a part of. And as I go toward the end of this presentation, I would encourage everyone, make sure you have an exit strategy. I know we all have to live in Babylon currently. I know we have to continue to conduct our lives as biblical prophecy is playing out around us. You know, the brothers here got the coalition together. There is a lot of places to meet and fellowship and communicate with one another out there nowadays more than there was years ago. And an exit strategy is an absolute must right now. We kind of need to live our life in the society, and we need to be ready for when the trumpets start and when all this is really the rubber meeting the road to exit out of that. I do not want my name on one of those right there. I've told people this. I want to live to see the new kingdom come. And if you don't make preparation right now, that may be ultimately what comes to pass for you if you don't prepare. Because somebody asked this question. They said, why do a lot of things always descend into fascism? And it seems like that before it's said and done, if you look at like the 3 Hebrew children in their day being thrown into the furnace of affliction to this day we're in, that spirit of fascism, even though throughout the pages of history it's not always been called that, that seems to always be the cult mind mentality, especially when Satan has fully collectively taken over a nation or its sovereigns or its people as a whole, is that if you watch in the years ahead, this world, I'm fearful the direction. I'm not fearful. I'm just observant that I'm concerned this is the direction we're heading, is that if you just look in the annals of history just 100 years back now, almost, that what went on in Nazi Germany, we're very, very primed for that to happen again in America and across the world. And furthermore, there is laws on the books in like Alabama for guillotines. I mean, it's right there, the legislation. You can check it out. I mean, the scripture talks about being beheaded for the witness of Messiah. And when you witness, you are standing firm for something. It's not just saying, hey, believe in Messiah. Well, there's everybody out on street corner saying that. You need to look deeply into that. That is bearing witness of the full truth, and when you start standing as a witness for the truth and the faith in Messiah and keeping the commandments, because if you look in Revelation, it's those that have faith in Messiah and keep the commandments are the ones that enter into the kingdom. These are some clear and present dangers that we all need to be considered about, because we are watching prophecy play out. And there's also the New World Order in the background, definitely trying to do everything they can before they run out of time, because they know their time's limited. And we need to have a plan in place. And some of the last things I would say real quickly is Winston Churchill said it best on this, is he who plans or fails to plan is planning to fail. And the mark of the beast, guys, it's a serious reality. We are living in that generation where we are going to see that play out. We're primed and ready for delivery of that. There is so much going on that all you have to do is pick up a science journal, Google it, look at medical journals. I mean, the linking of man with digital tech. I mean, like, you think science fiction films years ago, you wouldn't even really think this stuff straight up. And now it is literally in our face all the time. And so, time is ticking away. And I would encourage everyone to do as I done many, many years ago in 2009, in that winter of that year, is make a hard right, or I'm sorry, a 180, and turn back to keeping the commandments and start looking at biblical prophecy and preparing my mind physically and mentally for what's to come, because we are at the threshold, we are at the doorstep, and those sands of time are definitely ticking down to the end of this age. Brother, that's all I got on the slides.
Very, very, very interesting, by the way. Considering what we had discussed last week, going through the second part of Article Invasion, he's talking about the merger of machine and man. Very interesting.
Yeah, guys, it makes me very nervous. You know, AI, if you ask me right now if I could have one request in this life, it wouldn't be, hey, give me extension of life, give me wealth, give me all that. It would be delete AI from existing and from the minds of anyone that could concoct it. It terrifies me, and I don't know if y'all seen it. The grandfather, so-called grandfather of AI at Google, said he regretted ever cooking it up. And he was considered one of the founding people of building AI.
Yep.
And it will be used against believers. I mean, if I was Satan Incorporated, it would be my number one tool, my number one servant to go to do harm the servants of the Most High.
Yeah, because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's 100% completely embedded within our normal society. We need it for everything that we do. People can't even put a cell phone down, and it's all in the cell phones. All of the various devices we use, it's in our cars now. Like, it's crazy. You can't get away from it.
Well, you know, I used to work loss prevention for Bass Pro years ago, and man, I threw somebody out for stealing all the time. I was really, really good at it. And I ain't saying that to my own horn. I mean, like, I was really good at it because I was urban. But I could not watch all them cameras all the time. But with AI, you don't even need me anymore. You just set the algorithm, tell it what to pick up, facial recognition, biometric. It's just really, really, it's more than my finite mind can even process to break down the concerns that I have to people about it.
Yeah, so I was just reading the comments. Listen, we understand that the audio is tripping. The audio is echoing for me and for Joel. It is chopping up and breaking up for Brother Lucas. We definitely are aware. We just ask for your patience. Because Satan is at work tonight. Yeah, they don't want this information to come out, but we're not stopping.
That's right. Those power and principalities are in the air working tonight. They don't want to get going on.
Absolutely. I want to give a shout out to everybody who joined the chat, came on to the show. If you typically normally just follow Seven Trumpets Prepper and you came over, I want to welcome you to the channel. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate you. Brother Lucas mentioned a lot of good information tonight. And I wanted to quickly play a video for you guys. Because like you said, you gotta have a plan. And then there's various options. There's various organizations that's out there that are aware of what's coming. And our organization is one of those organizations. I'm not saying you have to join us. We do have a coalition put in place, filled with a body of like-minded believers who understand that the tribulation is coming. Everything from these slides that he presented tonight is coming. And so I want to play this video. If it's something that interests you, definitely reach out to us. Professor S, anything you want to mention about the coalition before I hit play?
No. I think go ahead.
Did that play for you guys?
Yeah, I seen it, brother. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it froze on my end. It froze completely. It was stuck on our faces just the entire time.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, no, that streamed out really well.
Nice, yeah, absolutely. So as you guys saw, it's a quick little snippet, but if this is something that would interest you, definitely reach out to us. I will have the information scroll across the bottom here shortly, and let's see. I want to also allow you guys to be able to ask your questions. How long did it take you to get all that information, Brother Lucas?
Yeah, you mean put together for the presentation, or just accumulate over time?
Just accumulate over time, like all of the information that you have in those slides.
Dang, bro. Well, I'll tell you this. 2nd Ezra chapter 16. I can't take any credit for that one because Brother Joe shared that with me and Brother Joel probably 8 years ago, 9 years ago. He was the first one to ever bring that one up to me. And what's crazy is, Brother Joe passed away about, I think it's been 2 years ago now. Y'all rest
about 2
so
years.
like
About 2 years.
It's been 2 years, ain't it, bro?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like the stuff he said to us about that years ago is actually starting to come to fruition right now. All those chess pieces are starting to line up on the board, but I mean, oh my gosh, I mean, like it's been almost a decade that I put a lot of this stuff together. I think 2014 or 15 came to the knowledge of the true Hebrews. I think it was a year later come to the knowledge about the flat earth. 2009, the law that it was eternal, come to the knowledge of that. The Father's calendar, it was like 2010. And man, I'm trying to think. Set apart names, that was probably 2011. It was progressive, like just take a year. It was like almost every other year there was something new knowledge that the Most High dropped off with me as time went by.
Because I have an accumulation of information as well. And so I'm always interested to see how long it takes other people to get all of their information.
Yeah.
I was just doing a biblical study earlier today, and I was trying to work it to get all of that uploaded to the website. And I said, this is going to take forever.
Yeah. I tell you, the one, when I think it was you guys, we were talking before the turn of this year. I think the newest thing that the Most High showed me was actually I brought it up to Elder Miller too, was about the 2 new moon days. Like that's a conversation and a truth that has just come to me in recent time. From looking at the word and studying it closer. And I swear, I feel like, we're going to be keeping on learning things and new mysteries right up to the gates of entering in the kingdom. I can't wait if we can make it in the kingdom. The things that we'll probably be shown will just absolutely blow our mind. Like I feel like we're just scratching the surface of the iceberg at this point.
Oh yeah. Of course. Of course. We're like what we're gonna be able to know at this point is far beyond anything that we try to comprehend right now.
Yeah, I may actually be able to quantum physics all that water bottle I was joking about earlier at the front of the stream. We might actually figure that out later on in the new kingdom.
Facts.
Oh man.
Yeah, definitely facts. So I put in the chat, you guys, the link to join the channel. If you got questions, don't even put it in the chat. Just come on up live and you can ask, 7 Trumpets Prepper a question live.
That's like great. I should have been doing that a long time ago, bro. Is giving people the ability to join the stream. I've let people, comment and shout out to them, but I should have just let them join the stream. That's a brilliant idea, man.
Yeah, no worries. And I can't take credit. Shout out to the my sister's platform, man. She came up with the idea.
That's awesome.
Sister Christina. Let's Talk Podcast. I appreciate you. Had to take the idea. I apologize. But it's great.
There you go.
Let the people come up here and ask some questions.
Well, it's like Brother Tim, shout out to him. He's the one turned me on to StreamYard because like I wanted to do where we could talk multiple of us at one time. And YouTube doesn't offer that, like you have to go to other platforms and stuff and then drop that stream into YouTube, And so he showed me about StreamYard, and I'm so grateful to Tim for that because I wouldn't be doing this right now if it wasn't Brother Tim showed me how to use it. Because, guys, I'm just not tech savvy on some of this stuff.
Yeah, it is a lot. And I got a whole new level of respect for everybody who's been doing these live streams.
Yeah.
Keeping it all together. I'm seeing what you're doing on the back end now. Listen. Shout out to everybody who's doing live streams.
I'll be setting at break time at work, and it'll be break, and I'll be like dropping loads into the slides on Google ready to go for the stream for the following week because, man, it takes so long to put the Google slides together, and then you got to put StreamYard together. It's a process.
Absolutely. So that Truth Talk Radio, that's me in the chat if you haven't noticed. That link right there, click that link and come on up, and then we'll get you guys in here to be able to ask a question. All right, we got one person. Is that Kiki or KY?
Yeah, Kiki.
Kiki. Shalom,
Hi.
sister.
Hi. Shalom.
Try to get you in here in 1 second. Get you brought up here. Oh, I can see you. Okay, there you go. All right. Shalom, welcome. What's your question? And who is it for?
Okay, so it's for 7 Trumpets Prepper. I wanted to know about I hear my echo, that's why I'm pausing so much.
We all been dealing with it.
I wanted to know, isn't there a time before it gets really heavy, serious, and horrible, where it's supposed to be really good and prosperous, and everybody's supposed to be fruitful and happy and fruitful? Isn't that in the Bible?
Well, now so for people that aren't in Torah and aren't trying to walk out following the Most High Yah, you'll see a lot of people prosper in these last days. And bad times going to come. It's going to hit them like brick, because you see all the way up in.
I can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
It's very. Yeah. It was so shaky. I couldn't hear anything.
Okay. Make sure this is that better. Is that clear?
About that. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know what part it cut out. I'll just repeat real quick. Is that like as you see end time events continue to unfold, you'll see that a lot of the wicked. David pointed this out in his writings that it just seems like the wicked seem to prosper, and nothing happens to them. But what's going to happen is that as you see the trumpets unfold, and especially the bowls of wrath, these people that have just been living large and life's going on for them, and it doesn't seem like anything's going on, and people that are preparing for what's to come is a bunch of kooks. You're going to see the bowls of wrath poured out upon them. People that took the mark, you're going to see a great source come up on them. While things continue to unfold, it's going to look like really good for a lot of people. And time, it's just going to be like as of the days of Noah, everybody was just caring, about their business. And then one day came over, and I seen this meme the other day to really sum it up. It had that the Most High loves everyone. That's what people say. But then also it had the people in the ark, and then it had the people drowning in the flood, and it said with a little asterisk, terms and conditions do apply. Well, that's kind of where we're at currently, is that, everybody says, well, the Most High loves us all. Well, Revelation playing out before us, when the rubber meets the road soon, we're going to see where those terms and conditions apply. So a lot of these people live in La Vida Loca. It's going to hit like a brick when it does.
Okay. But I thought it applied to like everybody, that everybody was going to have a moment before the Antichrist rises to announce himself. I'm new with the Bible, so forgive me.
That's okay, hon. Well, now there's many antichrists going out in the world, is what the book of John says. So, like, people get that confused, like looking for the antichrist. Well, there's many people, and one that fits the bill for the man of sin. And if you look at that, and especially in the Roman Catholic Church and the so-called Pope, he definitely fits the bill as the man of sin, because Daniel 7:25 talks about that they would seek to change times and laws. And if you look at the Roman Church, it's changed attempted to change the calendar, and it's also attempted to change the 10 Commandments. So no entity, no sovereignty, nobody in this entire world has tried to do that except for the papal Roman Catholic Church. So also, if you look at it too, it says that he will wear out the saints the Most High. I'm exhausted. In the time I live in right now, I'm exhausted. I literally have to work around a schedule where that I can keep Sabbath off, and then still try to operate in a pagan society. Then I also have to operate in society and tell them, no, you can't damage my DNA. You can't have access to my body. There's this bullet point list that a person has to go down through nowadays anymore just to exist in society that our forefathers and our grandfathers and hundreds of people before us never had to deal with. We're currently dealing with on the back end right now in the last days.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Good question. Good question.
Somebody else said they're exhausted too. I feel you, sister. Shout out to you. Yeah, it's like mental and physical exhaustion at this point.
For sure. I know. Listen, sis, thank you so much, Sister Amy. We need that, because he been coming hard this entire show. If you got a question, use the link. Come on up. Trying to make this interactive. But in the meantime, it's funny you mention that, brother. Trying to operate in modern day society using the Most High's true calendar is very difficult, because no employer wants to accommodate the fact that on this Gregorian Roman calendar, the Sabbath's going to appear to change each month, and they don't want to deal with that. So
yeah, there's a couple cheat codes you can use right now. Is that if you work 2 part-time jobs and you coordinate with them part-time jobs to fill the voids for people, and you get that day off that you need, and you give them in advance for a year. I've been able to work that out in the past. So just a heads up to people, that's an option. Another option is you work 3rd shift. If you can handle that lifestyle, some people can't. But if you can work a 3rd shift job where you work like 3 12s and they pay you the shift differential, not only do you have time to rest and have time with your family, but you never profane the Most High Yah set apart days because you're working in the night. So you've been going in at sunset and you're coming out at sunrise, and you ain't dipping in.
Yeah.
That's another option. 3rd option is I've done it is do what, brother?
It's a lag. Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's all right. Yeah. You interrupt me if you got a question, bro. And the other one was work for yourself, which being self-employed is a nightmare. I mean, Joel's been with me on job site. I mean, we have been through it. So, like working for yourself, that's a whole nother beast right there. But it's worth it if you can keep it going.
Sister Carter had a question. Just want to put it up there. Sis, did you mean Feast of Weeks?
I bet she meant feast. Yeah.
Just let us know. Or you can hit the link and come on up and ask a question. Okay. But yeah, so I tried to do that.
I tried to do that.
I've negotiated I've negotiated scheduling. I've looked for work that was literally like you said, night shifts. So I go to work after the sun go down. I get off before the sun come up.
It's been difficult.
So I just was like, all right, I'm gonna just work for myself,
and let the
Most High,
you know what I'm saying, open up whatever door he wants. Because I refuse to work for somebody who isn't trying to allow me to. I ain't gonna say allow. I'm gonna say that it's gonna honor my Sabbath.
My Sabbath.
Sure. Well, the thing that gets me on this is there's so many people that they're wrapped up in pagan holidays. They want their weekends. They want all this like coverage. And I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. Why don't you just hire me? I'll work weekends. I'll work every pagan holiday. I'll work a double. And all I need is this arbitrary day. Just send the other bunch of pagans to work that week. Like just give me my one day. And it's like jumping, asking somebody to send a cat over the moon to just get that day off. I mean, it could be any arbitrary day. And it's like, but it's the end of the world for you to have that particular day off. And so, yeah, bro, I totally understand. And I think it's the spirit of Hashatan in people, because it's not really about that they couldn't accommodate you. You actually, a person that keeps Father's Looney Solar Scriptural Calendar is a blessing to a corporation, because number one, you have an honest employee. Number two, they'll work the nastiest, most ridiculous, longest shifts for anybody. And number three is that they are a fill-in for the people that won't want to work them shifts anyway. So just accommodate the man and give him a day off, but it's the end of the world to do it. So that's my 2-second rant.
No, absolutely. It's like that in most jobs, because it really would make more sense to have that. It would make so much more sense to have that employee, but
sure.
But it's just like they despise it so much that they're like, we're not even gonna favor by coming.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes just.
Oh no.
Oh, sorry, bro. I don't want to. There's guys. I don't know what the deal is. There's a lag. I apologize if I'm interrupting somebody. No, I don't know what the deal is anymore, but I think it goes just one notch further than us. Is that I don't think they really want religious people in a workplace at all anymore. It don't matter if you're like Islamic, Christian, a Torah keeper, Jewish. I mean, you put any label on it you want. I don't think they really want anybody of faith in a workplace anymore, because we're treated like a liability. Like they want a bunch of godless pagans that will do anything in any shady business and do the most risque things, and just you're replaceable. That's what they want. They want replaceable lemmings to work for corporations anymore. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You so Miss Carter said that every time she clicked on the link, it took her away. You wanna answer that question? Or
yeah, you brothers want to answer that question? She's asking about Feast of Weeks.
She said, yeah. I mean, I yeah. I mean, you want to smash that one, Joel, or you want me? You want to hit that one?
You're the guest. I mean, I could.
Okay. I mean, I just didn't want to talk all the time, guys. I feel rude. Like,
dude, you're the guest on the show, man. So.
Well, okay. So now that's a compound answer. Okay. So 7 Sabbaths complete, number 50 days. Now, depending on how New Moon Day falls, that's going to be the day before Sabbath or on the Sabbath, just like it was this month. Now, anybody that's trying to learn this is one of the feasts. I'm not trying to turn anybody away from learning the feast. This is one feast that I think the most helpful thing somebody could do is right here, is download. I got it right here on the phone, is the Looney Solar Scriptural Calendar app. Because that way you've got the Father's calendar in front of you, and it's free. You can use it on Android or Apple. Sorry, guys.
Got you, brother.
And right here. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, the King's got it right there. Now, if we were, this once again is a dependent on the count. because you've got to, as you count down those Sabbaths complete in the number 50 days, you're going to end up falling either prior to or right there at Sabbath. That's a date that's rotational, I guess I should say, depending upon how it falls. And that's why you have to number it and count. And that way you arrive at the Father's Feast of Weeks at his appointed time. And I really encourage people, it takes time to digest and really put the Father's calendar to use. And it's not that it's complicated. It's that we've been taught a false measuring system of time for so long. To unlearn something and relearn something is harder than to just learn something the first time through. Because your mind is always at war with it. It's like, why are you saying this day is Sabbath when I was taught this is Sabbath? As opposed to the person that was a blank canvas just receives that information as for what it is.
Yeah. And that information is in Leviticus chapter 11 and Exodus chapter 34. So it tells you how to calculate to get to the Feast of Weeks. A lot of people misread it, and they count 7 Sabbaths because each week consists of 7 days, which gives you to 49 days. And then they count the following day, which is the 50th day. And then they say that is Feast of Weeks, but the scripture says to count 7 Sabbaths. And then at the conclusion of that, you're going to add and count 50 days. So it's 7 weeks, and then you count your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 50. And that's why Feast of Weeks actually falls on today. I hope that answered your question. If you want to, I know this, sister. So if you want to get in more depth, I can go through Leviticus 11 with you and break it down.
There is actually a really good video I was looking for that explains it a lot better than I would be able to. Well, here's a good article about it. Tell you what, I'll just link in the chat.
Awesome. Okay.
So yeah, if you want to study it a little bit more, I can try to explain it, but it would probably not be. It wouldn't be as understandable as what this article.
Absolutely. Anybody got any other questions? Click that link. I'll put it in the link. In the chat again. I know it probably got lost. Okay. But I really appreciate you, Lucas, man. You are awesome. You're a trooper.
No, I appreciate the invite, brothers. It's been great. I tell you,
we've been attacked by Satan all day.
I know, man. When I told Joel earlier when you were working on the green screen, I was like, man, it just seems like YouTube hates my guts. Like when I come over here to talk about the truth anymore, and I get on YouTube, it is just absolutely a struggle to stream anymore. Like literally. But yeah, I just count days like this a blessing because we're getting to that point where that us being able to communicate that like this. I know there'll be a day come we won't be able to talk like this,
Absolutely. Because it's gonna be a day that comes where we're gonna be on the same land. That's right.
Hey, there you
gonna be talking face to face,
I'm all for that, my man. I'm all for that. Good neighbors.
Okay.
Somebody's wanting to talk, but it says when they click the link, it takes them away. That's another person that just said that, brother. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know why it's doing that. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I know we did have one
person
come up.
I got an idea.
And they
Here, let me delete these presentations and let me see if it's because that it's blocking from the slots to be filled in.
Okay. I don't. We got another.
There you go.
Person in here.
Maybe.
We got another person in here. Hold on 1 second. Bring you on 1 quick second. Sister Carter asks, what are we doing to observe it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. 1 second. Let Brother Lucas answer this question that's on the screen, and then we'll answer your question.
Well, you know, like for her question, brother, you want me to answer her question?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I mean, today we read, you know, the whole armor of Yah, fruits of the Spirit, covered the Beatitudes. You know, that's kind of what we done in the Word today. And then, you know, I try to have summer fruits and things like that. And, you know, I just prayed and asked the Most High for a set apart Ruach HaKodesh because, you know, that's whenever the apostles received it too. And that's kind of why my mind gravitated to this this particular feast today. I'd love to celebrate it together with a bunch of people together today. That'd been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything in particular you did today, Professor S? I can't hear you. Are you muted? Yeah, you're muted. Joe, you muted. You gotta unmute.
Joel.
My bad. There's a lot of noise. So
Are you there?
the Feast of Weeks it's a memorial of giving of the Ten Commandments, the day that Moses came down with the original. So we'll read commandments, to ponder them more, being deeper understanding of them, how they're connected, and so forth.
Okay. All right, Brother Miguel.
Shalom, my brothers. How are y'all doing?
Shalom.
Doing good.
Shalom.
Hey, I'm enjoying the show. And Brother Lucas. I watch y'all. I watch videos all the time. And I appreciate everything y'all are doing. What I wanted to say, follow up on the. You know, it's hard and as a working class dog, yes, like you were saying, these days off. And it's as things go on, you know, you need money to support your family. You know, and I look at it, I taint it in that way. I can't take Sabbath off.
Sorry, it just froze.
Yeah, I heard part of what he said, and then it cut out.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You were talking about it was hard to take Sabbaths off to support your family, and then it cut out there.
Yes, sir, and that's what I'm saying. Yes, sir, and that's what I'm saying. As you know, I know as a human in this life we're in now, we're tainted. You know, we're not perfect in any way. And I'm just saying, you know, it's just added things that I'm going to be judged on and judged for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I try not to judge anybody anymore because I know we all gonna get judged in the end. But as far as, you know, taking off for Sabbath, I think it's one of those things that I've found in my own walk and others I've noticed is that if you keep striving to have that set apart day off, something will come along to provide that opportunity. Sometimes that requires switching jobs, sometimes it requires up working for yourself. But it's definitely worth it in the end because I mean, I find it so paramount, especially where we're at currently, to take and keep the Sabbath because, you know, nobody's doing it anymore. I mean, just nobody's doing it. I mean, even so-called Torah keeping churches, you bring it up to an SAT day church and they'll give you the boot quicker than you can blink. So there's definitely power to keeping it too.
Absolutely. And
what I would say for anyone in this personally is pray about it. Really pray about it. Because if you truly want to if you truly want to do God's will, then He's willing to make a way for you. He will provide a way for you. Now there may be some tests. You may be tempted to turn your back on it at some point later on down the road, but He will make a way for you to do it.
You know, like I said, my brothers, it's hard in this tainted world we're in now. You know, I'm 64, and man, I'm telling you, it wears you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I appreciate the answer. And may the Most High bless all of y'all.
Thank you, brother.
Todah.
Likewise.
I'll also add to that. I'm trying to last 3 times. If you're finding yourself in a situation where you're trying to keep the Sabbath, but for whatever reason, if it's your boss or if you're trying to find work and you're having difficulty, this might not be an answer that resonates well with you, but I'm just going to be honest and tell you the truth. I'm not judging, right? I love we're not judging. But the scriptures are clear, right? The Most High said, work your 6 days, take the 7th day. It's a memorial to all generations is forever, right? And we know as Torah keepers, we got to keep the Torah, right? Now, I do understand the difficulty of trying to operate in this wicked world. And it's very hard, especially when you realize that the true calendar doesn't align with the Gregorian calendar. It's very difficult. Trust me. I've literally been unemployed going on 6 months with no income. Okay, so I feel your pain. Right? I had to recently make a decision to work for myself. Where I'm self-employed and I can control my own schedule. But I noticed that a lot of us, when we come into something difficult, where we have to make an adjustment in our lives, in accordance with lining with the scriptures, we have a tendency to look for a loophole. So to speak, right? Well, if I'm trying to keep the Sabbath, but I'm still working on the Sabbath until something else comes along, is that acceptable, or is that wrong, or am I gonna face judgment for that, right? The absolute answer to that is a yes. Now, the Most High sees you in your effort, and He sees you trying to do it. But I'll tell you this. When I made the decision in the military to keep this calendar, to keep the true Sabbath and the feast days, He always provided a way for me to do so. Whether or not my employers, my sergeants, my colonels, all of those, and then when I separated from the military, anybody else, right? He always provided a way. Like I said, I went 6 months without a job, without any income. And there was not one time where my family, my wife, my children, the people whom we were helping, went without. Every month the bills got paid. Every month all of our needs were met. So I do understand the fear when you see, like, okay, I have X amount of money in expenses going out monthly, and I don't have anything coming in, or I won't have anything coming in if I don't have a job. But I was there, and He provided, because I made the conscious decision to not bend on it. I'm not saying that you have to be like me, or I'm better than anybody else. But I had to learn to live on faith. I had to learn to make it so my only sustenance and my provision comes strictly from the Most High. And every dollar that hit my account since January 20th of this year has been from the Most High. Sometimes I don't even understand where the money comes from. But I'm being 100% honest with you. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it's not going to be difficult. But I'm saying that, like Brother Lucas said, when you do make that decision to keep the Sabbath, the Most High sees that effort and He will reward you.
Yep.
Sorry, I was reading a comment.
You know that something else that I would bring up. You know, we have a tendency to view our jobs as sustaining us, but in reality, our job isn't what's he's
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, guys.
I missed it. What was the last thing you said?
Oh, I just said that he's the one that sustains us. So that's something to consider because it's not really our job to sustain us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you were saying something, Lucas?
Oh, I was just saying, the conversation I was having with Abby the other day is that, you know, that's why, you know, I've started doing the, when I was like, okay, because of things I get into because of prior divorce and stuff like that, and I lost all that part of my business stuff, finally said, just forget it, I'll hang it up. When I sold that off, I was like, okay, being that I can't go out and do this anymore, I got to have a replacement. And so that's why I just looked at it. I was like, okay, if I go to crypto mining, I don't have to deal with anybody. It's just equipment and the marketplace. And once I figure that out, I'll deal with the rest. And I've just been trying to figure out ways to do passive income, because if we can do things that we don't have to constantly touch and facilitate, and then we do get an employer that treats us like at least a human being, then we have sustainable, constant income. And then if we invest in something besides the passive income, then, you know, we've created streams of income for us, because I know hard times are coming, and it is going to get to the point probably where a lot of places won't employ people that keep the Father's commands. And it's not because they can't, it's because that the spirit of Satan is at work. So, you know, everything we can do to remove ourselves one step further out of Babylon and be self-sufficient or work for ourselves, I think we should probably jump on it. Whatever that is. Some people may have a really good skill at doing something. You might be a mechanic. Well, then open your own auto mechanic shop or your own plumber's business or something, you know. I don't know. We just got to get creative in these last days, because there's more pressure upon our generation than any other generation ever come before.
Absolutely. I put my email up here. This is my personal email. If you find yourself in a situation where you want to have a source of income and you don't want it to be a conflict with keeping the Sabbaths and feast days and new moon, email me and we'll talk offline. I'll email you back tonight once the sun fully goes down, and we can have a chat. Or tomorrow I'll work around your schedule, whatever you have, and I can give you some options. And you can potentially do what I'm doing right now, where you have complete control over your schedule. It's not extremely taxing, and you can still have the time dedicated to doing all your other activities. You know, so I understand it's hard out here, so I just definitely want to extend that olive branch to anybody. I wanted to also saw in the chat, I was reading the last few comments. The topic of grace came up, and I just want to reiterate that I want to say it's either Galatians, Ephesians, or Romans. I don't remember the exact book, but it says, and I'm paraphrasing, should we continue to sin so grace may abound? And it says the Most High forbid. So we shouldn't use grace as an excuse to sin. It's one thing if you're doing something where you're not aware of what the ramifications of that is, and that you're actually acting contrary to whatever the law states, right? That's grace. You're giving a measure of grace to cover you. But if you're willingly, you know what the law states, and you're going against what the law states, that's the blatant definition of actual sin, the transgression of the law. 1 John chapter 3, verse 4. So you can't continue to sin and then use grace as a loophole. Remember, I mentioned earlier we have loopholes. You don't want to use grace as an excuse to sin. What you want to do is you want to align yourself in accordance with the law, and then outside of that, let the Most High give you covering and guidance as to where you want to go. And Israel as a whole. Israel as a whole did receive the law, statutes, and commandments, but they apply to the individual as well. You know, and you can go to specific laws in the Torah, and they are telling you, hey, if you're a farmer, you're gonna act like this. If you're a priest, you're gonna go like this. Now there are laws that can be attested to a specific group, but we as individuals are individually responsible and are held accountable to adhere to the Torah.
I would say that if someone's convicted about something, then they should definitely be doing their best to do it. Sometimes the conviction can come right away, and if you're not convicted, then you're not convicted. If you're not convicted in your heart, then you may not feel the necessity to make as much of an effort or an attempt, right? But once again, it's not. We don't want to just say, "Oh well, we're just," like Mr. Said, "Oh well, we're just not just gonna be like, oh well, we're all human, we just sin," like, "Oh well, we're all human, we just sin," that's in any situation. We want to be doing our absolute best.
Yeah.
Well, I try to look at it like this, man, and y'all tell me if this is the wrong mindset, but this is the way I always try to discern this anymore, is I look at whatever's going on, and then I'm like, now, if I do that and I died right now, would I die in an unrighteous state? Now, that's the measure by which I try to measure everything I do anymore. And I'm not saying that may be the perfect way to look at it, because people would be like, well, you're just trying to live by the law all the time. No, I'm just using that as a measuring stick. Like if you wanted to go down to the bar and get drunk and then go to next door to the establishment where people weren't fully clothed, if y'all follow where I'm going with this, and then you walk out of that place and then get hit by a car, is that going to whenever you wake up, the next thing is you stand before Messiah? I mean, that really don't sort out good. You know what I'm saying? So I just try to think about that. Like right now, if I died tonight in the last conversation I had with y'all, well, that's a good way going out. But, I think a lot of people don't think about the next 5 minutes, let alone tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And if they did, they would not want to die in that state, because I just treat the human as the computer. Whatever we go out, that's how we're going to be raised up at resurrection. And, whatever you stopped off on the hard drive, that's the next pickup spot. And I don't think people think about that. They just think about the next 20 seconds,
Absolutely. Or they look at the current circumstances and whatever problem that's presenting itself as greater than, in that moment, adhering to the law or adhering to what the scripture states, because of the overwhelming stress of the situation, right?
Yeah.
My kids
they don't look at the long play.
Food, you know, it gets insurmountable. But I can tell you from a person of experience that when you think that there's nothing left that can be done but staying on that righteous path, blessings come your way that you can't even comprehend. You can't even comprehend it. It's ridiculous how amazing, you know, and the way it works is crazy. So some as little as, you know, if you're hungry and your kids are starving and you don't have any money and you walking down the street and you bump into somebody and they have a briefcase and briefcase falls, you pick it up and hand it to them, tell them have a nice day. And they were just so touched and moved that they ended up giving you a little money out of the briefcase, and it happened to cover all your expenses for that month. I know that's like, it sounds like a far-fetched scenario, but I can tell you it's happened before. Little things like that, or money that you put away years ago and completely forgot about, that has accumulated interest, right? And then when you find yourself in a financial bind, you find money, or anybody's found money in the couch, or, you know, maybe at the supermarket in the parking lot or something like that. I can tell you it happens. It happens. But just being faithful and obedient in the midst of all adversity is what's going to help you elevate to that next level.
Yeah. 100. Hey, I don't know if you men see that comment from that Miss Carter down in the bottom. That is a valid point that she makes about that it was easier to do things as a community. But I mean, we are scattered and fractured, and, you know, whether you're blood descendant of Abraham or you're of the nations, I mean, we are so fractured right now that's why I said what I said earlier about that, you know, the wicked one, it literally says in scripture that it'll wear out the saints of the Most High. I don't know anybody I know that is in the truth, that is like on top of the mountain, like got all the pillars in line, that ain't going through it exhausted, tired, struggling, trying to do the right thing. And that's why, because I mean, we're one righteous person in a town full of 10,000 people that don't give a flip about doing the right thing. And so, I mean, you're going to struggle. You're going to have to constantly give a dissertation to somebody why you ain't doing Halloween. You constantly have to give a dissertation to your boss man, don't give a flip about you, why you can't work in the middle of the week. Even though you done told the ignorant dude like 57 times, you're going to have to tell him 57 more. I mean, this is, we got to go through it to get to it. And that's just where it's at. I mean, I hate to downplay, or I'm not trying to downplay when people say that stuff. It's just, that's the reality we face right now. If I lived in ancient Israel, my life would be on easy mode. I mean, I'd be at the temple every time the doors open. I'd be there. I mean, you know, I'd have me an offering laid up plus a love offering. I'd be like, listen, that sheep right there is for this sin. That sheep's because I love you, and that sheep's for whoever don't got one. I'm heading back to the house. All right, y'all keep it real up here. I mean, it'd be easy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely would be easier if we lived in a community of people that believe this in way. It definitely be one. Yeah, and that's the way we're supposed to. It just happens to be that currently able to live that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I agree, bro. I hate having to be a lone wolf. You know, everybody thinks that's cool, being like, oh, I'm a lone wolf, I'm a tough guy. No. I like community. I like structure. I like order. I don't want to be in charge. You know, like, I'm a libertarian by mindset. I'm a libertarian in faith. Like, I just want to do my part and then dip out. You know, like, I don't want to be, you know, Nero sitting on the throne in Rome telling everybody what's up. No. That Luke don't operate in that capacity. So yeah, it sucks right now.
Absolutely.
I hate it for, you know, the people I hate it the worst for is the elderly and the young. You know, us right now, it come hell or high water, it doesn't matter. We're gonna get through it. It may not be grand. We may have to live under a bridge, but we're gonna make it through. Unless you do something insanely stupid like get bit by a rattlesnake or drink some toxic water or something, you know, but I mean, we can make it. All right, we're survivors, but the young and the elderly, they're going to have a hard time when a trumpet start. I mean, if you don't have a community or you don't have a group of people taking care of each other, it's not going to be pretty, you know?
Absolutely. Well, family, we're going to do a last call for any questions that you may have for Seven Trumpets Prepper or either myself or Professor S. So while we wait on this last call, give you guys an opportunity to click that link and come up and ask your questions. And we play this song, and it sums up a lot of what we talked about today. And it also talks about, the coalition that I mentioned earlier. Because the song is actually called Unity and Survival, based off of the coalition. So go ahead and give it a listen. If you like it, you know what I'm saying? You can check out more of my music, Solemn Prophet, on all digital platforms.
Panic all over the city, and most communities are left without telephone power or...
How do you start it over?
What you got it loaded on right now, brother? On the clips.
It was in video, just music.
Tab it off the screen and then tab it back in.
Tap it off.
Like if you have it queued up over there on the sidebar, just click it off and then click it back on again.
Oh no, it wasn't on the screen. It was in the background. It's all right. I'm gonna just add it back in.
Okay.
And then we'll play it like that. I tested it earlier, but I guess it just paused right where I stopped testing it and started playing it from there. Here we go, y'all.
I'd like to call to order this secret conclave of America's media empires. We're here to come up with the next phony baloney crisis to put Americans back where they belong. I think we should go with a good old-fashioned public health scare.
A new disease. No one's immune.
This can't be a made-up disease. The only moral thing to do is release a deadly virus into the general public.
So you ain't know we in the last days? Trying to tell me you ain't see the signs? Look at them chemtrails in the air. And plus they poisoning our food supply. And that's why I got a whole coalition. Unity, survival, I ain't talking Darwinism. It's a war, best believe it's on the rise. COVID-19 fake, yeah, let's open eyes. So pick a side, stop living in the matrix. What pill you taking? What deal you making? I know that blue pill looks appealing, but it's Satan. Yeah, it's Satan. The red pill is to the truth. So join the cause. They wrote it all in stone, but you didn't read the clause. Then they try to tell you that it's all a conspiracy, and that prevents the masses when I speak the truth from hearing me. Georgia Guidestones, Agenda 21, 5G, vaccines, AI, nanotechnology, GMO foods, water fluoridation, systematic racism, pagan observation, Planned Parenthood, outer space in that globe model, big pharma, LGBTQ role models. It's an agenda, we trapped up in this cage. We all playing parts. This whole world's a stage.
There appears to be a widespread panic all over the city, and most communities are left without telephones, power, or water. There appears to have been some sort of unknown attack. As you can see behind me, the buildings are destroyed and people are left to fend for themselves. We encourage you to stay at home and lock your doors until the situation is contained.
I know I can't make it by myself. I rock with a whole coalition. You know we all about the unity in time, so survival is the mission. While everybody sleep, we in the scriptures grinding, ain't never giving up. That's why we put the time in, like-minded individuals who know about the truth. We ride together, die together, riding with the proof. Gold bags in the trunk, rifle in the lap, buckets full of ammo, well water, no tap. Crops in the field, cattle in the stable, crypto in the wallet, hot food on the table. Set apart swagger, yeah, we keep it holy. Times of the essence, ain't talking about a rollie. Heads on the swivel, always on alert. Mistakes that get you killed, got them sweating through their shirt. Amazing what you have when you working as a team. Everybody as a unit, salvation is the dream. An open palm is weak and a slap can only sting. So we gotta be ready for what this tribulation brings. Fingers can be broken, alone and you stranded, but fall into a fit. this, you can really do some damage. Everybody's safe, we gon' stick together, cause you and us a family, we gon' make it through the pressure.
Here it is, the famous Georgia Guidestones. Maintain humanity under 500 million. So, how many people we gotta kill?
We gotta kill a lot of people.
They want to kill plenty of people.
You and Ness, we already know what's going on in this world. And if you don't know, you better look behind the curtain. But guess what? We ready for it. We already know what's going on in this world. And if you don't know, you better look behind.
All right. We didn't get anybody else that came up. So I'm gonna consider the Q&A portion of tonight's show closed.
I enjoyed that song, brother. I love that crypto in the wallet and hot meal on the table. Boy, I've been minting some crypto and I've been putting some meals on the table off of it. That's funny. That's good stuff.
Absolutely. All praises.
There's a lot of truth bombs in that first part of that too, man. That's straight up. It is exactly what's going on.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. You know, you can have that song. You can play it on yours. It can be your
I will. If you go with that, I'll share that next week on the stream, man. That is absolutely fire.
Oh yeah, you absolutely. You know, you can use any of my music, any of my tools, all of that. My stuff is open to you for sure.
Likewise, brother. I need to get you and Joel the passcodes on all my stuff too, because heaven forbid something hits me and my demise is before the return. I'd definitely like for you to keep the ministry going.
Absolutely. All right, family. If you have any more questions for Seven Trumpets Prepper, here, this is where you can reach them. Shoot them an email. Ask your question, anything like that. I had a Bible study with somebody earlier who said that he emailed Seven Trumpets Prepper, and he got a response. So this brother is one of those people who has a big platform, and he doesn't ever respond to anything that you send. So definitely email him.
Yeah, it just takes a minute sometimes, but I definitely try to get back to everybody at some point in conjuncture.
Absolutely. That's Seven Trumpets Prepper at gmail.com. And definitely support his platform. Here's the links to his PayPal, his Cash App, and his Venmo. Right. Definitely show this brother some love, support his channel. He's spending every week putting content out to push this information out to the masses. Definitely support his platform.
Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, and likewise, guys, support these brothers right here too, because it takes a lot to constantly keep this stuff up. You know, people don't know, StreamYard, it costs to run StreamYard. It's like $25-$30 a month. It starts stacking up, all the things people put into ministry. And I ain't just talking about me. I'm talking about others out here trying to get the word out. People do not understand the time, the money, and the effort that is put into waking people up, man.
Absolutely. All right, brother. In closing, is there anything you'd like to say to the people? You know, shout out any platforms, any new projects you got coming out, or anything like that. Any events you want to announce?
I'm going to try to do something in Gatlinburg this year for Feast of Tabernacles coming up. I link up with you guys to try to run some ideas, buy-ins on that, what I had cooking. And I want to do a documentary too about the new moon. That's something I've had on the back burner for about 3 years. I've kept talking about it, but the key to the creator's calendar, little mini documentary want to do about the new moon later this year. But that's really only things I've got cooking on the back burner right now. And Brother Joel's still listening. Love you, bro. I'm sorry you power cut out on that. But it's definitely been awesome being with you this evening.
Absolutely. It's a blessing to have you. You're more than welcome to come back anytime. I do appreciate you. Because you know, it takes time out of your busy days. You know, your wife, your beautiful baby girl. You know, so I do appreciate it. And I'm sure everybody in the chat that's watching, and they appreciate you too. Because a lot of them say they watch the show and they love your content. So we all love you, brother, and I appreciate you for coming on here. I'm sure Professor S appreciates you as well. And thank you for being patient. Thank you everybody for being patient. I know tonight didn't go as planned, all these technical difficulties, but we pushed through it, got it through. And,
that's right.
This is our first live, but it's going to be the first of many. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tune in. I know a lot of you guys check out Trumpets Prepper. Now come check out True Talk Radio.
There you go. Yeah, I'll send a. I'm gonna drop that banner on next live stream. I do definitely encourage guys to come over and listen to the stream you guys do together. So I'll definitely send a shout out for that coming up.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. So, in closing, as you guys head on out, I'm gonna just play this last song, talking about you know a lot of what we're talking about as well. Interesting. So you know, feel free to dip out whenever you want to. I'll play this last song and then we'll close out.
And in these moments, when all is lost and the world falls in a languishing heap, we rise to an occasion with an unwavering strength, through stoic mind and soul to meet it, or maybe overcome it, even in futility, against all odds, steadfast in our composition.
We can't wait for this to be over. The end's a little bit closer. The key to this is composure. You're soldiers of Jehovah. You'll read every line and see every sign. The world's gonna beat you, mistreat you with time. Darkness will start to get bolder. The wind's a little bit colder. The key to this is composure. You're soldiers of Jehovah. Feels like we're denied, apart from design. These demons mistreating the inside.
Poisonous oxygen, make it hard to breathe. Need to open up my lungs. With these chemtrails and them FEMA camps, they gon' try to take my son. I swear this population ain't ready. These politicians be deadly. I'm trying to wake my people up, but the way the truth's so heavy. Don't let me think about the beginning, no winning, no sinning, unless you already know what the end be like. I'm thinking about my awakening through the red pill. Now I really don't know what a friend be like. Dip me in the water, make me new again. I'm so done with lies, let the truth begin. The mark of the beast is the microchip. This wicked ass world so full of sin. Planned Parenthood 5G, fluoridated water, no high C. Until the 21, they gon' program Georgia Guidestones COVID-19. It's time to be prepping, I'm grabbing some food. I'm stacking the ammo that I cannot lose. I know I'll survive because I gotta live. I bought me some guns that I'm gonna use. I'm learning to farm and I'm hunting to eat. The firmament dome above the enclosure. Patience I lack, I need to go back a higher. Please give me composure.
Can't wait for this to be over. The end's a little bit closer. The key to this is composure. When you're soldiers of Jehovah, you'll read every line and see every sign. The world's gonna beat you, mistreat you with time. Darkness will start to get bolder. The wind's a little bit colder. The key to this is composure. When you're soldiers of Jehovah, feels like we're denied, apart from design. These demons mistreating me inside my mind.
I had to set out on a journey to live as expected in hopes that the world would affirm me. I followed the footsteps of people considered my idols whose morals just did not concern me. I mimicked the movements of people in front of me, hoping to reach validation, and thought that my gifts and my talents and skills were the key to creating my whole reputation. I never considered the hollowness felt in my heart was a product of having no purpose. The closer I got to achieving the love of the world, and I learned that it only exists on the surface. Inversion, the love's really hating, the praises of curses, repurpose that rage into service for something that matters, not murdering rappers, still seeking the truth and not merging with pastors. Speak on behalf of the truth, oppose the status quo, praising God as the true counterculture. They hate when you acknowledge life and don't circle the smell of your death with the rest of the vultures. We're all called to fight in the face of the ridicule, censorship. Be definitions of soldiers. Be brave and be patient and loving and kind. The key to this whole holy war is composure. We're all called to fight in the face of the ridicule, censorship. Be definitions of soldiers. Be brave and be patient and loving and kind. The key to this whole holy war is composure.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, family. Thank you all for coming out here. On behalf of Professor S, I'm Silent Prophet. 7 Trumpets Prepper. Special guest. We all bid you shalom.